I'm Bella Gerlich, I'm Dean of the Libraries. So I want to take a moment to thank everybody for coming out to this wonderful event and this opportunity to celebrate Dirk West with this great exhibit that Daniel Sanchez put on. And we'll let Daniel talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But I just wondered if everybody had a chance to check out the Red Raider belt. Okay, so before you leave the room tonight, this is the original Red Raider belt. Okay, so Lynn, are you in the audience?
Yeah, sorry.
So I purposely picked on Lynn because she had a mouthful, but Lynn is our university archivist, and she can tell you a little bit about this belt, and she can tell you about its preservation and everything else. So would you mind coming up and just talking a few minutes while we wait? I just love to put people on the spot.
Well, we were very blessed in that the Saddle Tramps contacted us about the belt. A lady bought it at a gun show, and she contacted the Saddle Tramps and said she would sell it to them if they could raise $450, and so they did, and they purchased the belt. It actually has a pair of guns, and it has bullets too. The guns and the bullets are on display next door at the homecoming exhibit. And so they brought the belt over here because they wanted it to stay here as part of Texas Tech history. At the archives, it'll always be preserved here. And anyone who can come in and ask to see it, we will bring it down to the reading room and let you see it. And our conservator built a special box for it. It actually has a little waist thing here. But Jim did come up and look at it. He's the gentleman who created Raider Red. And he's in the audience, and he's going to talk a little bit about it. But he did confirm this is the original.
Excellent, thank you. You can. I can introduce our president of the TTU Friends of the Library.
I'm Gretchen Scott. I'm president of our newly resurrected, thanks to Dr. Gerlach, our newly resurrected Friends of the University Library, the Southwest Collection, and the University Press. And so, if any of you haven't joined yet, I have membership forms conveniently located in my hand, and when you join, you will get personal notification of all these fabulous events that Bella and the library staff put on. So I hope you all will join. It's a wonderful thing to support, and we want the community to know what's going on here at Tech, in the Southwest Collection, and in the library, and at the press. So we welcome you, and we want you all to join. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to throw anything out? Anybody? It's all good. All good. So I'll just pitch for Literary Lubbock. If you haven't received an invitation, that is on November the 10th. That will be held in the new Carlson room. If you haven't been in there, we renovated that recently. Do we all remember the fountain in the Carlson room? Can I see a set of hands? Yeah? Okay, so the Carlson room fountain hasn't worked in a very long time because of water restrictions, and then leakage, and then so on and so forth. So we took the fountain out, and it has been covered up, and we now have a big double T in there. And so we're going to hold all kinds of events in the Carlson room, and the first big fundraising event will be for the Texas Tech University Press. The press is one of only, I think it's 2% of presses, of university presses, so that makes us an elite group. But presses are expensive because we publish books for their scholarly content, and they're books that might not otherwise get published because they're not mass produced. So look for your invitation if you haven't gotten one, and please join us on that night. And if you're interested, do stop and talk with Gretchen. She'd be happy to give you more information. Now I think we're ready to start the program. All right, great. So as I said,
waiting on me? Wait for her to call you later. She's not waiting.
So as I said, my name is Bella Gerlich, Dean of Libraries. and I thank you for coming for this Dirk West exhibit. We're very honored to be able to share with you this very special exhibit, and we are about to introduce you to the Pope, Mayor Pope. But the man behind the collection of profoundly marked Texas history, spirit, and tradition, we are proud to have the opportunity to impart this legacy of Dirk West. We are recording this event, and it will be found in the future in ThinkTech, which is our institutional repository, and in a few days' time, watch for the link on Facebook and on our Twitter pages. So to help with the audio of our recording, please silence your cell phones and put them on buzz. It's kind of like the, Alamo Draft House. Okay? This evening, we have the honor to share the podium with the Mayor of the City of Lubbock, Dan Pope. Mayor Pope, a Texas Tech graduate and member of the Rawls College of Business Advisory Council, founded Benchmark Business Solutions in 1994 and grew his business enterprise into the most successful Xerox agent dealer in the country, creating more than 70 jobs in Lubbock. Mr. Pope currently serves as Chief Development Officer of Covenant Health System and has been an active member of the Lubbock community for more than 20 years, spending much of his time serving in leadership positions with the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, United Way Board and Campaigns, First United Methodist Church, and Covenant Health System Board of Trustees, and Lubbock Independent School District Board of Trustees. Please help me welcome Mayor Dan Pope to the podium.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. I really grow tired of hearing that introduction. I'm sure you probably are too. But I want to just make a couple real brief comments tonight. First of all, it's great as the current mayor to get to open up tonight's event honoring a former mayor. And I grew up in Temple, but I'm the product of two Red Raiders, and so we came up here for games all the time. And on my wall in my room were often Dirk West Cartoons, because I was a big Red Raider fan. There was no doubt that I was going to be a Red Raider, and so it's really a special honor for me tonight to welcome all of you, to just thank the West family for letting me be part of this tonight. And I'm going to be quiet and let my peer on the council, my good friend and family friend, Jeff Landslide Griffith, landslide because he was elected by 5 votes 2.5 years ago. I'm going to let Jeff make a few comments.
By the way, if you win by, I tried to explain to our current mayor, I'm very proud of our new mayor, y'all, but I tried to explain to him, when you only win by 5, it's not a landslide. It's just a slide. You got to win by 10 or more for it to be a landslide. I am honored to be here. This is important, and I appreciate the mayor giving me a few minutes, as I do the West family. As I look around the room, I see a lot of friends, a lot of proud people to know Dirk, Mary Ruth, and the rest of the family. I mean, what a great family. I think that Dirk today is looking down, and he's smiling big, and he's so proud of everybody in this room and this dedication. But you know what? He's really proud of his family. What a great family. And I applaud, and I want everybody to give a great, big welcome to the West family. And Tim, that includes you. Getting to know Dirk as a youth was very special for me. And he is actually one reason that I ended up running for city council. Mary Ruth knows a little about this, Tom does, but it was amazing to watch him as a leader in this community. And he took great pride in Lubbock. He took great pride in Texas Tech. He took great pride in his family. But he understood community, and he understood giving. And you can't say enough about the man. What a great individual. What a great leader for this area, for this university. What a great family man. What a great father. I'm humbled to stand here, but I'm excited for this to really get going. The mayor and I appreciate you giving us a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words. Now, let me welcome and thank Exhibit Curator Daniel Sanchez to the podium so he can talk to us a little bit about the process and about the exhibit. Daniel?
Thank you all for being here. We're talking about the West family, and they're very important. Mary Ruth sat down last year for an interview, and that we'd already been thinking about doing this, and after that interview, we decided we're going to go ahead and go on with this exhibit. And as we were planning it, we noticed homecoming's coming up. Rodney Allison was bringing people in, but they're really busy with they're bringing the 1976 squad in. And if everybody remembers, that's the team that everybody points to when they start off 8-0, because we went 9-0 until we faced Houston and lost to them. And I remember because I was in the going band that year, so I was a freshman in the going band, and I thought you always won until that game. But so I thank y'all for being here. And tonight we're here about the Dirk West exhibit. And you'll notice down the hallway we have all his collection of cartoons, books, mascots, and other things that he created. And we call those not just from the West collection, but from a variety of collections. We thank the West family for their collections. DC and Jerry Stotts, they, if you look at it, we have some big ones like this in the back. They actually donated those, and so we have those here. And also TTU Athletics. They give us a lot of stuff. As you know, his name and athletics are intertwined, and they forever will be. And as you mentioned, he was a former mayor. He also, when he went in and said he'd be a one-term mayor, and he kept to that. Now, there's a lot of times we wish politicians would do that. So you haven't been there long enough yet. So we'd like to thank all those families for donating, because they realize that the important thing is to preserve the history of this area. It's our collective history. We're all proud. All of us Red Raiders are proud in Texas Tech. We all came here for a reason. And so I'd like to thank all those for donating to us and future donors. But I'd also like to thank Lynn Stahl. She's the one that actually created. Now, Lynn, would you mind standing up? She's actually the fabricator here. So we just do the easy work of going out and talking to people, pulling artifacts out. She has to make facsimiles of the stuff that we can't have in the sunlight. And so all the captains, everything that had to be resized, she did it. Thank you, Lynn. But more importantly, she kept me to a timeline, and we'd be talking about this next year. And also I'd like to thank Dean Gerlich, our AD Jennifer Spurrier, and everybody else that's library staff that help with this, because it takes a lot of people. We have the people that provide the money, we have people that provide the taping and all the other resources so we can have the catering. So thanks to everyone for doing that. And also publication. The AJ this morning did a story on this exhibit, and a gentleman named Jerry Austin read it, and he said, called me, he was like, well, I have something from San Angelo Rams. See it up here. He read the article and said, if you don't have it, I'll donate it. So he brought it up here. So that's what happens when the AJ puts something behind it and lets it out, lets the word out there. So if you have anything that might be unique, give us a call. Either myself or Lynn Whitfield, who's our university archivist, if it's tech related, call her because she'd be interested in it. Otherwise, Monty Monroe or Dean Garlick or Jennifer Spurrier will be able to help you. And with that being said, let me introduce Tom. I'm sure all of y'all know him. I got to meet him when I was interviewing his mom because he walked in on us. But he's a really good. I found out he's a really good guy. Hey, that's the way it was meant. That's what happens when you're with people that are just comedians, right? Yeah. Tom. But anyway, Tom, would you get up here and tell us a few things about your dad? And afterwards, after Tom, we're going to have a short surprise because the actual first Raider Red that developed the cartoon based on this, or developed his mascot based on the cartoon, is here. So he's going to speak after Tom for a little bit. Thank you, Tom.
You know, thank y'all so much. And to get up here and say, for me to say a few things about Dirk is, it won't cover it. So I'll have just a few things to tell about Dad. And, you know, look across the room, and our family is just so thankful for everybody's here, fans and family and friends. And it just is really, thank y'all so much. But I'd like to introduce our family. And I'm sure y'all know a lot of them, but I'd like to introduce them. First is my mom, who Mary Ruth West, as some of y'all know, is Mama Ruth. My sister Mandy and her husband Mike. My brother Tim and his lovely wife Debbie. Their son Clayton and Laura, his wife. And then those not in attendance, and this will take about 30 minutes, is Cameron West and Rachel and their children Boyd and Ellie Ruth. Mandy's daughter Carrie and her two daughters Scarlett and Autumn. Tim's daughter April and husband Josh with their 4 children. And Amy's husband Ed and their 3 boys. Did I get all of them? Okay, I can't keep them. And we got Beth, my cousin's here. But the Southwest Collection family and the West family have had a long, close relationship that has spanned over 15 years. They have been great to work with and have handled Dad's work with great care. Our great friends approached us about a year ago about doing an exhibit showcasing Dirk's work. Of course, without hesitation, we said we'd be honored, and they know they'd do a first-class job, and they did. We'd like to thank Daniel Sanchez and Lynn Stahl for the time and work they put in to make this truly a great exhibit for all to enjoy. There might be some things you don't know about Dirk. He was a Cotton Bowl cartoonist for over 30 years. And in 1974, Nebraska came and played the Longhorns. Dirk came up with this big husker, and the Nebraska athletic director at the time was Bill Byrne. He loved the character, and so did the Nebraska fans. Herbie Husker was born. Bill Byrne went on to become the athletic director at A&M. And when A&M came to play Tech, the visiting AD suite was next to my brother Tim's suite. Bill saw it was called the Cartoon Club and saw Dad's pictures hanging in the suite. He came over to meet Dirk because he never met him in person, and he learned that Dirk had passed, and he really wanted to meet Dad. Not everyone enjoyed Dirk's humor. And there was a coach by the name of Jim Carlin. Does everyone know the Carlin Commandments? And so Coach Carlin came to Dirk and he said, "Dirk, you don't know a thing about how football works." And he said, "Well, Coach, that may be right. I don't know how my television works, but when it's not working, I know something's wrong." There was another time in the Avalanche Journal, there was a letter to the editor from a Tech fan saying that Dirk's cartoons were a detriment to recruiting. So I asked Dirk, I said, "Did you see that?" He said, "I did." I said, "Did you know him?" And he said, "Yeah, I did." And he said, "You know what? I know him. If I did, and he's a guy that if I knew he had a sense of humor, that would really bother me." You know, we as a family, we all agree with this. We watched Dad throw away, paint over, whatever, thousands of pieces of art. And so if we had kept all that art, we could have filled the Spirit Arena and had quite the show. But he did. And so the West family has a public confession to make to all of you. we started stealing from Dirk when he wasn't looking. You know, so that's why we have anything we've got. So anyway. But Dad also, and if you have a chance, you'll see out there's some carvings out here in one showcase, and you'll see some pictures of the ones over here that Daniel did, of Dad's carvings. And it was just, what he did, he just started doing it. There was a piece of balsa wood that actually NASA came up with that. It was a soft balsa, and he came up with these characters out of the soft balsa, out of just one piece of wood. And if y'all ever have a chance and you'll know my mother, or don't know my mother, I'll give you the address. Come over to her house to see these wild, different cavemen and all this. And if not here, just call me and I'll just take the boat and I'll knock on the door. Just let me know. But in closing, we can't tell you how much it means to all of us to see all of y'all here, all of our great friends, and also to have Scott Hall here with us that keeps Dad's spirit alive. We appreciate you so much. You know, fantastic job for us. But you know, like I said, I could stand up here and tell stories of all day long about Dad and how much fun it was growing up with him. And an interesting thing, you know, he passed away. Ironically, in July of '96, which means that he passed away right before the Big 12 started. And he actually was, Mom, correct, he was back cartooning doing one of the last programs when the Lord came to get him. And it was just an irony in the fact that he loved the Southwest Conference. So it was just kind of that irony that happened. And another thing is he hated Austin. He hated it. and we had literally stories from all over, really the world, about Dad's passing. But one of the biggest ones, and it was a half-page story, I think, Mom, wasn't it? The Austin Statesman. It was just a great tribute to Dirk. And so anyway, I know he's looking down. He's very proud to see all his great friends and also fans and everybody. And you know, big shout out to Jim. Jim made this, and he'll tell you how this all came to be. But again, we are humbled. You are here. Thank you so much.
Jim, I kind of pressed you into service on a short notice, but please come up here. And he verified for Lynn that, yeah, that is the original stuff. So that's proof.
Thanks, Tom. Mary Ruth, thank you, and West family. Not a very good speaker, but my wife and I, Dinah, who was with me when Raider Red was created, drove up today with our friend Chris. And I want to give just kind of a backstory. I don't want to take away from Dirk because it goes without saying, without Dirk's cartoons and caricatures, there would not have been a Raider Red. But to give just a real short little story, and the long story might be better told, you know, at a different time. I'm from Port Arthur. I spent 4 years in the Navy before I came to Tech. I was joined Saddle Tramps, a fraternity brother of Tim's, and when I was a sophomore, I was a Saddle Tramp. I was the treasurer that year. Word came about that the Southwest Conference was not going to let the horse, the Red Raider, travel to out-of-town games because back then most of the fields were grass, and he tore up the fields. And they were going to take a vote on it the following fall. And as a saddle tramp, amongst some of my other saddle tramps, I said, we just got to figure something out that we can work on and make work for our mascot. And I remember, I was 27 years old, so I wasn't a very young guy. But I remember, many of you remember the San Diego Chicken, that crazy little guy that used to get up on the dugout. And I said, what if we were to create, some little guy that was in a costume that could go to out-of-town games, that could go to basketball games, go to baseball games, go to all the sports. And I was in Wells Hall at the time, and I said, what if we just did a little papier-mâché little guy? So we started with I'm going to try to make this quick, but we started with some shoulder pads and chicken wire and paper mache and a lot of the Avalanche Journal. If we just kind of cut up in strips, you know, I was kind of a creative little guy when I was going to school in Port Arthur with Janis Joplin, by the way. She was a couple years ahead of me. And then summer came, and I moved into one of the dorms. I was a dorm advisor. My girlfriend at the time, who has been my wife for 43 years, kind of helped me, and we conceived. And we came up with the idea of, you know, Dirk has this great little character that ever since I came to Tech in '68, and I just loved his cartoons. You know, he'd make something funny about just anything that was going on in the Southwest Conference. And Old Red was his character, and I said, what if we just kind of take Old Red? And he had his series of Southwest Conference caricatures that he had done. So Dirk was not aware of this at the time, but I kind of took his caricature that he had published and kind of dimensioned everything off. Top of hat to chin, length of the mustache. Now, everything was two-dimensional. There was no three dimensions, so I kind of had to play with the side views to create depth. But over about 3 months, out of paper mache and chicken wire on some shoulder pads, we created basically Raider Red. And, you know, Don and I had a bunch of names that we had, and we just said, let's just turn the Red Raider around and call him Raider Red. So it was in August of 1971. Even the Saddle Tramps was not aware of this at the time. And I went to our officers' meeting, and I said, listen, we still don't know what's going to happen with the Red Raider, but what if there was a little caricature guy that could run out on the field and do goofy things? Nobody would know who he is. And we introduced him to the student body. And so we kind of voted on it and said, well, okay, because we really didn't want to take anything away from our real mascot. And that never was the reason. You know, we were kind of coming to the aid of our real mascot, kind of like we're BFF, you know, best friends forever. So the night of our first meeting, I came running down at the Saddle Tramp meeting, and, you know, kind of did some crazy little cheers, and basically it was the holster, Tandy leather. We bought that Tandy leather, and actually the original one I think we sewed, but I think before the end of that first semester, this is the one that we ended up with. We had bullets for all the teams of the Southwest Conference. I had a lady over in Arts District who actually helped sew the costume to match exactly Dirk's drawing. And so the Saddle Tramp said, let's do it. Jim Carlin was the coach. We were going to Tulane. It was a Thursday night for the first pep rally. So it was, I believe, August 22nd, or maybe it was the first week of September in Jones Stadium, and there were 4,000 screaming Tech students. Ran out there, and, you know, that was really the birth of Raider Red. I graduated the next year and married my girlfriend, now wife. And we thought, you know, Raider Red, a year maybe. They voted. Our mascot was able to travel to away games. And so there was really no need for Raider Red, but he kept trumping along. And year after year, we'd see him on TV, and, you know, he is what he is today. So I'm really honored to be here. I had no plan to say anything in front of this group. Tom, thanks what you said about your dad, Mary Ruth. I mean, he was the greatest guy. We only spoke twice, and, you know, I think I started this without his permission, but I think before, because I'm sure there's some copyright somewhere. I just, you know, Mary Ruth and I have talked about this. We wish we had copyrighted, you know, the Raider Red, the Raider Red name. But I think they've given their rights to Texas Tech as I have as well, whatever rights I have. I gave them to the Saddle Tramps. But it's a real honor to be able to just speak before this group. I'm so proud of what Raider Red has become. We had four children, only the very last one came to Tech, but we've always told her that she had a brother here. And for 45 years, she does have red hair, by the way. So we're so proud of Raider Red and what he's become here at Texas Tech. But it was an honor to be here. And Mary Ruth and Tom and the West family, thank you for your day. Bye.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I want to thank our speakers. I want to thank Daniel and Lynn Stoll. And I want to thank the West family for entrusting us with this wonderful archive and allowing us to preserve this exhibit for generations to come. It's very wonderful. So thank you all for coming. We hope to see you at future events just like this. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.